Welcome to Gold Derby. I'm senior editor Denton Davidson here with Dee Smith, director of the bold, brave, and unfiltered documentary Kokomo City, which spotlights Black transgender sex workers in Atlanta and New York City. Dee, I was not surprised at some of the darker moments of the film, but what did surprise me was how funny and entertaining this is throughout. You did such a great job of showing these women's personality and humor along with their struggles. Talk about the tone of the film and what you wanted to present to the world.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. I think what was one of the most important things to accomplish in this film was to kind of get the girls comfortable in the most genuine way, and to also to earn their trust. Even as a trans woman, that doesn't mean that they're automatically going to just open up. A lot of these women have trust issues, abandonment issues. I mean, like real issues that are still ongoing. So I was very respectful in terms of just how I approached them, but I was also very confident in what I wanted to achieve. And I think they were really struck by that approach. And because so many times in being trans women, especially Black women, we are kind of like attached to these boundaries and these fortresses that kind of like have been built to protect us, but they also in return have caused a lot of harm to the narrative in terms of just creating these language barriers. And I thought they were totally up for the challenge, and it was very encouraging and inspiring for them to be a part of this.
How did you decide on who you were going to speak to, and how did you make them so comfortable? You have the film primarily focuses on Daniela Carter, Coco Dedal, Leah Mitchell, and Dominique Silver. So where did you find these four, and what led you to gain their trust in that way?
Sure. Well, I found these women on social media, Instagram. I went to like the popular celebrity, if you will, trans women, and just kind of like sifted through their comments. And I don't know, I wasn't looking for anything particular. I was just strolling, and whatever caught my eye was kind of like the page I went to. And there were quite a few pages that I went to. I wasn't looking for anything snarky or, kind of cliche or over the top. I just wanted something that was relatable, felt balanced emotionally. Um, and like Leah, for example, she had a YouTube channel like a few years ago. I saw her and I was just stuck. She didn't have a lot of followers at all, but there was something so magnificently genuine about her, right? She's just on YouTube making her videos very, very raw, if you could imagine. I saw something in that the world really needed to see. I couldn't relate to the stories that she was telling, but I felt like I was there when she told them, and it was just a no-brainer, so I found them that way. But again, when I approached the girls, I was very transparent about, I didn't go into depth about me being homeless or not having any money, but I was like, hey, listen, my approach to this is not going to be your quintessential, queer, transgender narrative where we're just like interviewing in front of a brick wall, like ironically. But I wanted something that felt, I don't just real, untampered with, and it's scary to them. I wanted them to feel uncomfortable in terms of like, not having glam, not having a wig, not having a stylist come in, not having fancy lights. These are things that people just attach us to, as trans women. We have to be dolled up. And I told them we're not going to do that. And we're also not going to use any of the red carpet narratives. I want you to talk, be yourselves. I don't care what it is you want to do, whatever you do around your house, I'm going to encourage that we do that. So that was really exciting for them. I mean, to just to have an opportunity to speak your mind with no politics or rules involved, you know. So I was excited. I was excited, and I think that excitement and that genuine trust and that urgency, I think they really picked up on it very quickly because I was extremely serious about doing this film.
We'll talk about the way you filmed it because it's in black and white. It's beautifully shot. It's almost sort of, you're almost sort of beneath them. We're kind of almost looking up at them at a slight angle. What was your decision in that filmmaking process? Because you have gotten a lot of credit for the cinematography. That's one of the things you're nominated for at the Critics' Choice Documentary Awards is the cinematography. So talk about your decision to shoot the film in that way.
Well, I wanted to empower them, and it kind of just went hand in hand with the black and white. It was like a few things happening, right? I wanted to do all the things that were never done with trans women, or not enough where we could remember, you know. Far most, to be very candid with you, when I first started Kokomo City, I simply wanted to make an art film. I wanted to just make something artsy, you know, and it became very serious, very, very fast. And shooting in black and white was the magic for me to do this film. I Black and white, it's so timeless, it's so powerful, and it's so strong, it's such a strong medium and a technique. Like you could take the most grittiest element for walking around New York City and slap black and white on it, and it becomes art. It becomes elevated, and it becomes dignified. And I wanted the girls and I wanted trans people and the world to see these women being elevated, which led me to kind of do a lot of kind of worm's eye view angles because they were empowered. This was their moment. And I was, in a sense, beneath them because they're telling me their stories. And I wanted to be respectful, and I wanted people watching them to feel like this is special, to even have this opportunity to have these women to open up in such a way. You're privileged to have to see this, and as I was, there was so much that I didn't know, but I wanted to make it visually, aesthetically stimulating or pleasing. So those that was my number one choice.
Well, you not only direct the film, you edit it, you shot it, you compose the music, you have control over everything. You've been very upfront about your struggles. I mean, you're a Grammy nominated music producer, and then your life got flipped on its head. So
Yeah.
you're struggling, you make a decision, I'm going to make a film. So you do all of these things. Was that because you like to have that much control, or was this the position you were forced to be in to make the film that you wanted to make, and you just found yourself that you excel in all of these areas?
Damn, that was good. That was really good because honestly, like I was breaking this down with my best friend. I said, you know, I've always been this way. I've even as a child, I don't know if it's me being controlling or just protective. Because when you have an idea and you kind of compromise your idea for other people to freaking get it, it sucks. It doesn't come out the same. And I thought it's worth doing all the work. It was so, I want to say fun, but it was so fulfilling to me. I was instinctively drawn to do what I did in the film. Number one, I didn't have the money to hire anyone, but even if you have money, it's finding the right people to really understand when it's something just not, that is not cliche or easy to follow. It's just people really freak out by new, you know, or unsafe. They do. And, you know, I reached out to multiple filmmakers and told them about Kokomo City, and they all rejected the film. So that was another reason why I had to do everything. And instead of me being discouraged, I was pissed. I was hyped, and I got so empowered in the and I got the audacity to honor the gifts that I have. That's that. And every time I looked around, I was pretty good at something. You know, I spent most of my life pursuing and chasing music. I love music. But, you know, the music industry really did a number on me. So I went back to square one, you know, homeless, feeling like I need to prove myself, nothing to lose. I mean, nothing to lose. I love my life. I've never thought of committing suicide, but this was that time where I was like, I was going through it. So for me to have the opportunity to really express myself creatively, there was no turning back.
Well, it was a hell of a pivot. And before I end this, I just have to commend you and talk about that final shot in the film.
Mhm.
Dominique Silver. That's one
Mhm.
of the most powerful endings. It's like, here I am. Talk about your decision to shoot that and what her decision to go along with that was.
Well, again, I wanted to do things that were not very popular. Um, Telling trans women's story again, that fortress, people are trying to help. There are organizations that are trying to help, but they're also doing a lot of damage to our community as Black people, where it feels like there's like becoming even more divided between trans women and the Black community. So, you know, these was just one of those things I just wanted to slap on this film with no regret. And look, at the end of the day, trans women want to be humanized, um, as everyone wants to be humanized, but there's still this thing where, well, okay, we're gonna make them human, but we're not gonna go all the way. We're gonna add, they can sit at our table, but they can't, you know, they can't do this, they can't do that. That's the experience of being transgender. Me personally, I am not looking for extra privilege. I'm just looking for the what everyone else has. I would fight for my personal beliefs and my things like that, but at least respect me as a human. So as a human, you have women that do what happened at the end. You have men that do what happens at the end, and you don't get that with trans women. And I think that this was perfect. And so for me to bring it to Dominique, the idea, it was the only time really in the entire film where I got pushback. And Dominique, respectfully, is a really, really successful adult entertainment actor, right? And she's a huge porn star, huge following, right? And the girl looks good too, but she was so uncomfortable with the idea of a trans woman in the safety of her home filming her in her pure transgenderism. She was threatened by that and uncomfortable. And the moment I saw her being defensive, that's when I got really inspired. I didn't push it, but I sold it. And I had to tell her, this is exactly why you should do it. Because when you're shooting, you know, adult content, you have this safety net with the actor or a guy or something. And that validates your womanhood. That validates your transgenderism. But you looking into the mirror with who you are should do that. And I said, imagine all the girls that just need to see that.
Well,
And she called it
congratulations.
that, and that was it.
Congratulations on this documentary. It's really beautiful and eye-opening, and good luck with everything this
Thank
awards.
you. Thank you for having me.